Ravens 16, Bears 13. I don't know if you guys heard the Fire Matt Nagy chants or if you saw the Bears Periscope they did after the game. Like, Coach Nagy's live at the podium, and the comments are ruthless. It makes the YouTube chat for this podcast on Sunday nights look kind.
Seem like an NPR convention.
What's that?
Seem like an NPR get together.
An NPR get together? I don't.
He's joking because no, it does not.
Oh, is that are people nice on the NPR get together?
Yeah, they say he sounds very pleasant.
Yeah, come on now.
Yeah, I mean, like usually in this chat on our YouTube, I look at it, it's like I wake up in the morning, I'm like crying, like my feelings are hurt. Poor Matt Nagy, I hope he doesn't read the comments as well, because boy, oh boy, he looks. I mean, they got look right before the game, or I mean, not right before the game, but you know, we knew Lamar Jackson texted his boy.
Tyler Huntley.
Somehow, I keep wanting to call him Trace McSorley. I don't know why.
Tyler
Huntley. I know. Yeah. He texts Tyler Huntley. And it's like, hey man, light it up today. And Tyler Huntley like played okay given all the circumstances.
Yeah, he literally had one throw.
He had one good drive.
Yeah.
No, he played okay given the circumstances. That's a decent defense.
Not really.
All right, should the Bears fire Matt Nagy? Let me ask you that.
Well, the question always comes up when we talk about firing people. Can you find someone better? And I would posit, can you find someone worse than Matt Nagy?
I thought it was rhetorical.
I mean,
Matt Patricia?
Has he gotten the most out of this team?
No.
Has he come close to getting the most out of this team? And you could argue about injuries and, you know, Khalil.
He got the most out of Andy Dalton today.
By the way, final score, Baltimore 16, Chicago 13.
Look, he's not the defensive coordinator. I know the defensive coordinator's a first-year guy, and so I don't know how much you can put on the defense and the lack of, and the injuries and all that. But at this point of the year, like, you can't make excuses about injuries. The Ravens didn't have Lamar Jackson, so ipso facto, to sort of paraphrase Michael Scott, I mean, dude, what are you doing? Like, how's that last play?
What's a worse loss without the quarterback? Seattle to Colt McCoy, or Chicago to Tyler Huntley?
I think the one in Seattle is going to be a huge problem for Russ Wilson's future. But I would ask this question: what's the worst loss for Chicago? The Steelers loss where they got robbed by the refs, or this loss where they robbed themselves?
Well, I mean, the crazy thing is they probably should have won both games if they had a competent coach.
100%.
And then you're talking about a 5-5 team, and it's a completely different conversation. So I think that's your argument for getting rid of Matt Nagy. When your coach is, when you're losing games because of coaching, that's when you know it might be time to move on.
Look, when Freddie Outhouse discussions are breaking out in the YouTube chat, hit the like button. We're almost there to give away a free hat. We're a couple away. When Freddie Outhouse discussions are breaking out in the chat, that's when you know that you've gotten a bad situation in your hands. Matt Nagy has been, I mean, like, I know everybody, I know the Bears fans hate his play calling and all that. He's won like a lot of games.
What? He went 8-8 last year. I know he was coach of the year.
I think it's more of he's been to the playoffs 2 times in 3 years, which, you know, most coaches don't get grilled like this when they've been to the playoffs 2 of their first 3 seasons and never had a losing season.
Fair.
I mean, that's what the Bears front office is probably saying. That's why we're not firing him right now, because he's been to the playoffs twice and he hasn't had a losing record. Like, he hasn't, and he makes Andy Dalton look like an MVP.
This currently the Bears pick that's going to the Giants is number 6 overall. That's
Brinson, somebody has got a Brinson burner account going.
Yeah, they could use an offensive lineman for sure, but they're not going to get one in the first round.
Yes, they certainly could. They would not get one in the first round. I mean, Justin Fields suffered bruised ribs, according to reports. Not doesn't sound like it's going to be a spleen injury or broken ribs, which is huge. But it's hard to imagine him playing on Thursday at Detroit. The problem is at 3-7 now. Do the Bears? Where are we at on the Ryan Pace, Matt Nagy? Oh crap, we have to do X scale, because if you're Nagy, you're trying to save your job. So do you play Justin Fields on a short week against a terrible team with bruised ribs? Because that's how you get broken ribs for your quarterback, or something worse, right? It's a weird line to walk if you're Chicago. You're not a playoff team. I know you're only 2 games out technically, but you're a bad football team, and I just don't know what you do. The Ravens, it's hard to just really dive into this too much because of, no Lamar Jackson. I mean,
you don't want anything about the Ravens. They won the game, which is what they had to do. And then other than that, it's you move on and they'll get Lamar back and they'll be the Ravens going forward.
They found a way to steal the game, basically.
Right.
Well, let's not forget, they were the Ravens going forward when they lost to the Dolphins on Thursday night, too. So this is another team that has a lot of issues, like the Titans and like the Bills, that we really don't know a lot about from one week to the next.
I mean, drop your Twitter handle or Instagram handle or some sort of social media channel handle and like make a note of what it is, if you don't mind. In the chat, we'll gather names to give away. Keep it the like button, of course. There's not a team in the NFL without a flaw, like without some sort of warts or flaws or concerns. There's just not at this point.
So Titans, Bills, Ravens, rank them in terms of how good you feel about them in January, February football.
Bills, Ravens, Titans.
Ravens, Bills, Titans. Are we assuming no Derrick Henry?
Yeah, just what you got right now.
Yeah, then Ravens, Bills, Titans.
I think
my concern is that the Ravens are too. This would be the argument for Lamar for MVP. Is they are? I mean, I know they won anyway, but like that offense is Lamar.
I mean, they only scored 10 points, like Ryan said, the last time Lamar was out there.
Yeah, sure. No, it's fair argument.
Their defense stinks too. Again, the defense has been the issue, and the defense is never the issue when you play the Bears, but for other teams, including the Tua-led Dolphins, it was a problem.
Man, the Ravens' schedule is brutal.
Oh, what is it?
It is Browns, Steelers, Browns, Packers, Bengals, Rams, Steelers.
Yeah, that is not ideal, but I would argue that if you can, like, you have the opportunity.
They don't play a team with a losing record for the rest of the season.
Yeah, my point is just that obviously Packers and Rams tossed in there is a huge problem. But you have 5 division. I mean, the AFC North is going to be decided. Like it always was going to be decided, just like the NFL sets it up in these games at the end of the year. That the Ravens can decide the AFC North in really the next 3 weeks if they want. If they sweep the Browns and beat the Steelers on the road, that division's basically over.
I don't know. They could
Bengals might
get
have
swept by the Bengals.
The Bengals aren't winning the division.
Bengals only 1 game out, and if they sweep the Ravens,
the Bengals could win the division. Don't hold that against me.
Thank you, Brinson. Clip that one and make sure
I didn't
play that.
don't clip either of those.
Debo.